Hi and welcome to today's video in the Study Unifees Daily with series. Today's video is about enriching and improving your writing by adding a variety of sentences. As you know, when you write, whether you're writing for academic purposes or for an English proficiency exam, you are required to use a variety of sentences to demonstrate to the examiner or the reader that you are comfortable using many different kinds of sentence structure. In today's video, we will learn how to write one kind of complex sentence. This is the complex sentence that uses an adverbial clause. Firstly, let's try to understand what an adverbial clause is. The first thing you need to understand is that it is a dependent clause, meaning that by itself it does not stand alone as a complete thought or a sentence. Here, look at the example. She was downsized by her company because they were cutting costs. Here, the adverbial clause is because they were cutting costs. By itself, this is not a complete thought, and neither is it a complete sentence. So that is what we mean when we say that the adverbial clause is a dependent clause. Secondly, what you also have to understand about the adverbial clause is that it functions like an adverb. Remember, the main function of the adverb is to describe a verb, an action. Here, the verb in the independent clause, which is downsized, is being described by this adverbial clause. Downsized, why? Because they were cutting costs. Adverbial clauses are always used with at least one independent clause. An independent clause, remember, is a group of words that stands alone as a sentence, that has a complete meaning and also a subject and a verb. In the first example, the independent clauses, he works as an English teacher. This is because he works as an English teacher is a sentence by itself, hence it is an independent clause. But in the first example, an adverbial clause has been added. The adverbial clause is, though he is a qualified engineer. This is a dependent clause, because though he is a qualified engineer is not a complete thought or a complete sentence. In the second example, even though she has lived here for only 3 months is the dependent clause, because it does not stand alone as a sentence. The independent clause is, she is an active member of the community. This is considered an independent clause because it stands alone as a sentence. If you were to write, she is an active member of the community, and then put a full stop there, this would be a correct sentence because it is a complete thought. Now, let's see what's inside the adverbial clause. The adverbial clause always starts with a subordinating conjunction. In these two examples, though is the subordinating conjunction that has been used. Look at the first example. The dependent clause is, though he had studied hard for the test. The independent clause is, he failed it miserably. The adverbial clause starts with though. The function of this subordinating conjunction is to basically describe the relationship between the two clauses. This is a relationship of opposites, of irony, the sense of the unexpected, and hence though has been used. Look at the second example. He took a long time to complete the experiment, though he had done it several times previously. Here too, though is the subordinating conjunction. The subordinating conjunction has been used to basically express the relationship between the two clauses, which again is a relationship of opposites or irony, the sense of the unexpected. After the subordinating conjunction, the adverbial clause always has a subject and a verb. In the first example, the subject is he and the verb is studied. So in this example, what we can see is the structure of the adverbial clauses: subordinating conjunction, subject, verb, and then the object of the verb. In the second example, we can see the same thing. First, there is the subordinating conjunction though. Then there is the subject he. And after that, the verb had done. Now, we can see that in one example, first there is the adverbial clause. In the second example, first there is the independent clause. This is what always happens in a complex sentence that uses adverbial clauses. These two clauses follow each other. Now, let's understand the arrangement of these two clauses. In the first example, we can see that the adverbial clause comes first, and then it is followed by the independent clause. In between the two clauses, to separate them, a comma has been used. The second example is exactly the same sentence. However, this time, first there is the independent clause, and then there is the adverbial clause. This time, there is no comma used in between both these clauses. So, what you can understand here is that these clauses can be switched around. So till now, we have understood what's inside the adverbial clause, how the two clauses can be switched around. Now let's look at different kinds of adverbial clauses. The kind of adverbial clause is dictated by the subordinating conjunction used. The most common kind of subordinating conjunctions used for adverbial clauses are subordinating conjunctions of concession. These join two things that are opposite to each other. They may also join things that are unexpected of each other. Look at the example. While it is advised that you live on campus for the first semester, most international students choose to live in shared apartments near the city center. Here, the sentence is starting with the adverbial clause. While is the subordinating conjunction here. While is used in concession. Here, it is used to show a sense of the unexpected between the two clauses. There is a relationship of irony between them, in that one clause says it is advisable to live on campus. The other clause says that most students actually don't do so. Because of this relationship, while has been chosen. However, in this particular sentence, it can be replaced by though and although too, because both work in the same way as while. The next kind of adverbial clause is the one that uses the subordinating conjunction of time. Look at all the subordinating conjunctions of time on your screen. When, before, after, since, while, as long as, till and until, all impart a relationship of time between the two clauses, and particularly between the verbs in the two clauses. Let's understand this by going through this example. Rents will continue to increase as long as the housing crisis persists. Here, this means that as long as one action persists happens, the second action, continue to increase, will also happen. It also implies when the first action stops, the second too will stop. Other subordinating conjunctions of time are used differently. Next, let's look at some subordinating conjunctions of condition. These are used whenever there is a condition, a relationship of condition between the two verbs. Look at the example. I will lend you the money provided that you can pay me back by the end of next month. Lend, the verb in the independent clause, can only happen if this condition is met. Pay me back, that is the verb, by the end of next month. There are also adverbial clauses of reason. They are initiated by subordinating conjunctions of reason, like because, since, and as. These are used when there is a cause and an effect between the two clauses. The adverbial clause is the cause and the independent clause is the effect. Look at the example. I find it hard to travel to distant places because I have a fear of flying. Cause: the writer has a fear of flying. Effect: therefore, they cannot travel to distant places. There are also adverbial clauses of purpose. They use subordinating conjunctions of purpose. The subordinating conjunctions of purpose are in order to, so that, in order that. Look at the example. You should arrive early for your first class. What is the purpose of this? In order that you can familiarize yourself with the classroom layout and meet your classrooms before the lesson begins. So, the purpose of arriving early is to familiarize yourself with the classroom layout and also to meet your classmates. Then, there are subordinating conjunctions of manner, which tell you how an action was performed. The subordinating conjunctions of manner are as if or like. Look at the example. He splurged, that means spent a lot of money very quickly. He splurged at the supermarket. In what manner? As if he had won a lottery. His manner was one of somebody who had won a lottery. Thanks for watching this video. We hope that after learning this skill, you will be able to write this kind of complex sentence more easily and also more effectively to lend more variety to your writing. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe if you found this video helpful. We'll be back soon with more videos in the Study Unifees Daily Vid series. Connect with us to improve your English or for English language proficiency tests or even for study abroad. To connect with us, simply log on to studyunifees.io. Till then, all the very best and take care.